Hello, it's Ben with the DIY Homefront, and I'm in the big city checking out the condo life. There's a condo that needs a little bit of work, and I'm gonna see if I can't take care of it. So let's check out our problems. So recently they added a gutter, which is cool, except it just dumps out right there, and the water has nowhere to go. So it runs down this way. And then there used to be a tree here, but they cut it down. And apparently the water is eroding all the soil. Because this is how we identify a hazard in a big city. You take a jug and a hockey stick and you shove it down in a hole. And it's a pretty deep hole. So we've got to try to figure out some kind of drainage solution. The drain for this little roof ends up coming and dumping out, and I have put some pea gravel down there trying to make it a little bit better. Oh, and then the drip from the AC comes up back there and it leaks, so there's a whole bunch of water that comes here. Can you see the paver I'm on? It's just a joke. All right, we've identified some problems. Let's see if we can't find solutions. Well, there's not a whole lot of detailed instructions involved with this. Most of it is just a lot of manual labor. So I think we're going to fast forward through most of this, and if I feel like I need to say something, I might chime in from time to time. And I'll start by chiming in with this. The first thing to do is to just clean the area up so we can see what we've got to work with. The tree that they cut down was a pine tree, and it was about 2.5 feet in diameter at the base. After I get the majority of the debris raked up, I'll go ahead and start with a shovel and start pulling up any pavers that might be loose. Boy, the ferns and the leaves have really piled up around the air conditioner to the point where you can't even see the drain vent for the air conditioner. Well, these ferns are so dense I had to take a shovel to them. But I want to be careful because, hypothetically speaking, my yard ends at the other side of the air conditioner and the neighbor's yard begins at the other side of the air conditioner. I was surprised how much of the dirt had been washed away by the water. Before the tree was cut down quite a few years ago, I had installed a short French drain. So there's actually some landscaping fabric and this pea gravel on top of it that I need to remove and get out of the way. There's really quite a few deep holes that are sort of hidden here. You can see how far the rake goes down. I think I'll try to take all this loose dirt that I'm digging up and fill in any of those holes or voids that I found, because I'd hate for somebody to step in there and break their ankle. Well, there's the French drain I installed a few years ago, but I've got a lot more work if I'm going to get it out. If I was at home, I'd have quite a few more tools to use, but at the condo, all I've got is a shovel, a couple rakes, and a small hatchet. Well, I got a pretty good bit done yesterday, not as much as I'd like, so let's see where the progress stopped. Well, this is a close-up of the pipe, but here you can see how it runs this whole length and then turns towards the pond. And it keeps going, and I'm not sure where it stops, but this is where it ended up last night stopping. I have two of these catch basins that I'm going to put under each one of the downspouts from the roof, and I need to have them sort of in place so that way I know how low they are, because if I want the water to flow away from the condo, it needs to be all downhill from here to the pond. Well, you always have to be a little bit more careful when you're digging in the city because you never know what you might be buried underground. And that white line is actually a water line. What it goes to, I have no idea. Well, you can see I have most of the old French drain up and out of the way. But it was a lot closer to the surface and it didn't have those catch basins. I'm really going to have to dig it a lot deeper if I want to get the grade right. Well, on the first day, whenever I ran into any roots, I ended up using that small hatchet. And it got the job done, but it was a lot of work. I'm really glad today I've got my reciprocating saw with me. It's making the job a lot easier. Well, just in case you're wondering, this is 6 times as fast as it normally would be, and I am editing out every time that I'm pretty much not in frame. There were a lot of small roots and roots I had a hard time cutting with the shovel, so the Sawzall was coming in handy, but some of these roots were actually pretty big. I was really surprised how hard this ground was. I had to use the hatchet just sort of to break it up so I could rake it down some more. And just 2 feet over, it's being totally washed away by the rainwater, which doesn't really make much sense, but that's the way it is. Well, the end of day 2 is getting a little closer, and I've got to the point where I can go ahead and take the French drain pipe and hook it up to this catch basin. I still don't have the trench all the way dug, but I've got it enough where I can hook it up to this catch basin, and we can go ahead and start putting some gravel on it. Gravel works really well because it lets the water run through it and it doesn't compact or compress. And the kind of gravel I'm using has jagged edges, so it all sort of locks together, which means it's going to stay where you put it and it's less likely to be washed away by heavy rains. So hopefully you won't make the same mistake I did. This 2 foot by 2 foot cement tile weighs a lot, and I let it fall over instead of carefully setting it down, and it split in half because of that, which means I'm going to have to very carefully get these 2 pieces back together on the ground and hope for the best. So when I bought the 2 black boxes that I put underneath each one of these gutter downspouts, I also purchased 3 bags of gravel from the box store. And I really like the color of this gravel. It's called pea gravel, which means it has those rounded edges, but it blends in a lot more with the ground around it. The downside is those bags cost $5.99 each, and I could put 3 bags in 1 bucket. So it was not a cost-effective way of trying to accomplish this job. Well, I put quite a few more bucketfuls of gravel out, but that was off frame. But now it is day 3 and we're back again, and you can see where we left off. We made a lot of progress, but we still need to fix that down by the pond and add enough gravel so that everything is the same level as the ground around it. Well, the goal is to extend the black pipe or the French drain all the way into the pond. And there's still quite a bit of roots and digging that I'm going to have to do before I can put this last piece of pipe on. Well, unfortunately, I took that reciprocating saw home, so that's why I'm using the hatchet today. The pipe or tubing that I'm using is 4 inches in diameter and it's designed for drainage. It's corrugated and it's got a bunch of little cuts all the way up and down it, so that way water can enter into it or leach out of it. As for those 2 drain basins that I put underneath the gutters, they're 12-inch cubes and they're designed to work with that 4-inch corrugated pipe. Now about all this gravel I'm using. It only took those few bags that I purchased at a box store at $5.99 a bag to realize that that was going to be way too expensive. So I ended up getting 1/3 of a yard of gravel and got it in the back of my truck. And I got 3 of those bags in total. But because of the way the condo's built and the tree roots and everything, the only way I could get the gravel from the parking lot in the back of my truck to the back of the condo was to use buckets. And that's what I did. So I put the last bag of that sand colored gravel just to help the gray sort of blend in a little bit. But there you have it. Those 2 catch basins and this drain and all that gravel should work really well to get the water away from the condo and stop the erosion of all that dirt, especially around where that tree got cut down. Well, if something like this becomes one of your projects, get ready for some manual labor. But from here at the Homefront channel, I just want to tell you thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, check out some of those other videos, and I'll see you in that next one.